All right. Let me get my levels set. Hop into the office here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my stream. I'm the cartographer, and today we're getting back into some world building. I hope you'll join me. Let's see where we are. Hey Serum, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm having a really good day. Woke up feeling alright. I cleaned the room, kind of got the desk all organized. So far, so good. I've been definitely prioritizing my health, and it's been paying off. How are you doing today, Serum? Do. Oh, this is a classic. I love this one. I don't like overusing tracks because I myself get bored, but this one's a good one. Let's see. Let's go to the world. As it was, Daggerford. So let's see. We're gonna keep finishing. We're doing a good job last week, banging out some of these random encounter sheets. They're kind of like a little side pocket DM thing that I think is like a little bit important. It's not like overly important, but I just want to have them. So I guess I kind of thought of this like as I'm speaking. I've been kind of constructing my Dungeon Master screen. So if you've ever played with a DM screen, I'm essentially constructing that for this campaign, is what this feels like. The monster maps, the quick sheets, everything you're going to need to know. And we had just finished the orange and the pink regions. Oh no, we had just finished the yellow region in the Trollbark Forest. Yes, and I was telling my dad about this, the amalgam, Uber Troll amalgam, and the Troll amalgam, which is a very interesting creature. It essentially is a troll, and if you know, trolls regenerate. Unless, of course, you hit them with fire, right? And if they regenerate, say maybe next to another troll, say like you slice the head off of one and chop the other in half, and they fall next to each other on the battlefield, and then they regenerate, and they can morph into each other, and you can get like a double troll or a dire troll, right? Or you can take that premise and you can like multiply it tenfold, and say you have several trolls slaughtered and thrown asunder in a pile, and this pile was not burnt for some reason. The blob of trolls themselves can rise up and become a troll amalgam. And what is so cool about this creature is it quite literally will take one of its extra troll arms or troll hands, and it'll just like rip it off of itself and throw it. And it'll deal bludgeoning damage, and it's like throwing a rock, right? But then also that rock turns into one entire troll in and of itself. So I just thought that was really cool, and I really, really hope my players, they want to check it out. And also I wanted to really up the intensity of what these tier 3 regions look like, right? We have the High Moors, which is renowned in its own right. And then we also have the Trollbark Forest. And the question I often ask myself is, here, I'll even bring up the map so we can just kind of look at it as I discuss. So the reason I bring it up is because you have this coast of Daggerford that has been being colonized and being industrialized, and all these forests have been being cleared and cut for use of the town, boats, trade, lumber, etc., right? And we have quite literally the history of Ardeep Forest, which I've kind of mentioned on several times on my streams here. But the thing is about that is the Trollbark Forest. Well, Trollbark Forest is still there. So let's see, window capture. There we go. So the Trollbark Forest is still there, right? So a question I would ask myself as a dungeon master, as like a little D&D historian here of 5e, is why would the Misty Forest and why would the Trollbark Forest still be there? You have Baldur's Gate and Daggerford on either side. I'm fairly certain if they could harvest more wood, they would, right? So the only answers for those questions are, well, it's scary and dangerous, and we can't because we can't. And the Misty Forest has several things. I gave it a green dragon in a lair action to kind of give it that mist. And I think it can maybe have some type of Fey connection, as it's a forgotten piece of a long-lost forest of elves of old. And then, well, the Trollbark Forest trolls. So that's where I was really excited to kind of bring in these trolls amalgam. Oh, is it like an ear infection serum? You want to know what really helps? Garlic oil. If you got something ear thingy going on-y. Let's see. So, yeah. So, there we are. We've seen what we're looking at here. We're doing the yellow region here. So, let us... Oh, hey, cat. Remove. Yes. Jezebel, it's hard to see when you do this to me. Let's see, we're up to... Guillaume. Here, I'm just gonna try and... Bear with me a second here. Jezebel, I can't see when you do this. And yeah, there we are. So for now, this is I'm still trying to figure out this OBS system a little bit here. No, dude, I'm literally the serum, literally. So I'm outnumbered on a daily basis. My family comes home and it's 3v3, right? But then they leave and it's 1v3. It's just me here. So here we are. I fixed the capture so you can see, Serum, of what I was talking about. You dropped out, you said. But essentially, just to summarize what I was saying about, there's these two forests that are left on the coast, on a coast that was entirely covered in forest. So all of it's been removed, and then the question remains is why haven't these two forests been removed? We answered the question for the purple misty forest, and we also answered the question for the yellow trollbark forest, and that comes in the form of the trollbark amalgam. So, let's continue on with the Tier 3 in the High Moors. We can go get some research done here. I'm sure we can find a lot about High Moor. High Moors with an S. The high moors were an elevated, uncultivated land that together with the Farsi marshes, or Farsi swamp during the century, that followed the spell plague. Let me open... Well, maybe it's not the moors, it's the high moor. That's what we're looking for. Yep, right next to Sycomber there. The High Moor was a large, monster-infested, open moorland in western Faerun, bordered on the east by the Serpent Hills and on the west by the Misty Forest. Let's see. Dragonspear, Hammerhall, la la. We know we got hobgoblins here. That's all we know. We know that because I know that. Based out of Sycomber in the north region, but that's not true anymore as that has been destabilized. Rymanthin, the hidden city of hope, created by a large group of notable magic users led by Kleben Blackstaff, Arunsun, Sara Shadran, and Aulair, I think maybe, was located in the High Moor. Okay, some wizards. And, let's see, Dragonspear Castle, Hammer Hall, and Orogoth. Alright, let's do some research here. See what we got rocking. I think I have a couple awakened trees and a couple vine blights. So a little bit of that forest thing. Not necessarily tree ants, but it's a similar thing. I actually don't even know if tree ants are an actual creature. I think there might be some copyright issues between games, or between Lord of the Rings and 5e. However, awakened trees are a similar thing, and vine blights are like a smaller thing that kind of hits that. And then also in the Misty Forest, if you check my last streams, you'll see there's a lot of plants coming alive, and also a lot of giant creatures, like giant forest creatures. Kind of was able to run with a theme there that I was really pleased with. Was a log house and adjoining stable surrounded by a wooden palisade, built by the adventuring group known as the Men of Hammer Hall, to explore nearby halls of the Hammer. It became a viable place of refuge. It was located near High Star Lake, just east of Mount Hilm. North of the Serpent Hills. Okay, so that's way over here. That's way off the beaten path of what I think we'll have to deal with. But could be a thing that the players might be able to get to do, you know, if they think it's important. Hey, what's up, Stormy? How you doing, my friend? I saw you're on early today, huh? Well, early for me. I know you. I think you're on a different time zone. No. That's, see, literally, you gotta give yourself rest. You gotta make sure your brain's happy. Otherwise, a happy brain doesn't make cool worlds. Last week I took Friday off. I took Wednesday off. Yeah, you gotta take care of yourself. The body knows what it wants. So we don't need Hammerhall. We can forego that. Orogoth, also way over there. Presence of black dragons. Okay, yeah. That's where the black dragon might be. Is he still there? I think they killed him. Let's see if we can cheat and just read the inhabitants. Non-dragon inhabitants included human wizards descendant from the Netherese. They studied ancient magic and collaborated with Haluras wizards. In addition, the villa was the headquarters of the largest Ophidian tribe in the High Moor, appropriately calling themselves the Tribe of the Old One. Owing to experiments with Ophidian eggs, House Orogoth created a means to manufacture half-dragon versions of the creatures. As of 1370, the Tribe of Old One was led by half-black dragon Ophidian named Abarath. Okay, so no black dragon, but we have dragon folk. Okay, I like that. That's fun. Some black dragonborn in here somewhere. Some hobgoblins in here. A fish that flies in the fog. That sounds very akin to like a Magic the Gathering card. Yeah, see, and like that's the other thing is like you'll take a day off from creating like hard creating on paper or computer, right? But like your brain's always just like you might take a break and watch a show, but like your brain's still like you know what I mean? It never actually turns off. Nice, nice. There's a dead dragon, powerful spellcaster in the same swamp. There can always be a Draco Lich. Ooh, yes. Draco Lich is very much, I think, like... A, great idea. B, something that would be, like, a tier 4? Question mark. Draco Lich. And maybe these black dragonborn are bad. So here's some cool story building that maybe Serum just kind of set me on a world build. Perhaps my first intention was like, oh, like who's in this town of Orogoth? Are they good? Are they bad? Would they be on my random encounter table to like just randomly attack anybody that's out here, right? And I'm like, oh, well, if they're dragonborn, then they're, you know, they have some type of organized tribe. They have some type of organized order. I wouldn't necessarily presume them to be bad or quote-unquote evil, right? But then Serum comes up with this idea of the Draco Lich, because there is a dead black dragon in this area, or in this swamp, or at least several components of one, maybe smaller wormlings or adults, maybe not one big ancient, but you know, perhaps there is a Draco Lich, and perhaps, you know, when the characters get to tier 4 and they want something big and juicy to sink their level 20 teeth into, that could be the thing. And then of course we can then world build back. Let's go back to where we started with these Dragonborn. Well, assumingly they wouldn't be bad off the drop, but if there was an evil Draco Lich in the area, perhaps they're like this weird cult that like follows this Draco Lich, and maybe these black Dragonborn are dangerous. Black Dragonborn cult. Huh? And we can just add to the fun and the festivities going on in the Serum, you have great ideas. What do you mean? You just knocked that out of the park. That was an idea. I wasn't even ready or thinking about that, but it was so good I didn't want to waste it or throw it away. Like, who are you kidding? You're not kidding me. I know a good idea when I see one. We gotta do some type of... It's a swamp. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. Or leeches. Oh, I gotta get my ice peas. I'm reading into sea hags. We just did some sea hags for the pink region. I have a little coven of sea hags, actually. Where's pink? There's pink. The Sunken Plateau. Which I believe you named as well. So, like, here you go again. I don't have good ideas. Yes, you do. Yes, you do have good ideas. Let's see. Hobgoblins. Hobgoblins. Yeah, I think I was offline just as long, Serum. I normally take the weekends off. Been uncursed. So, I don't know if you saw, Stormy, my idea was a similar kind of connection of something really big with something, a bit smaller. Is I took a Leviathan and attached a evil sea hag ritual to summon this Leviathan. So that was my idea that I kind of ran with, that I'll just share as we're talking about sea haggery. Yeah, yes. Yeah, once you play long enough, you just throw everything out, right? Just like, yeah, these creature scores are pointless. Because honestly, I mean, I've played with a lot of different people, and like, you could have 4 players that are all level 1 at a certain power level, but you could have 4 players all at level 1 at a way different power level. It all depends on who those players are and what they do and what classes they have, right? Power levels vary. Alright, we need to get some monsters up. Let's get some monsters up. Do. 1/2 to 1. Swamp. Just in time. Okay, so let's get into this swamp. Crocodiles, classic. I think that's a classic. I think that's too classic to ignore. Crocodiles, crocodilies. I'm looking for a 1 here. Some mazels. Some skulks. Some Yuan-Tis. Not looking for like much here. We could do the ghoul. So yeah, we are going for a theme of undeadedness here. Creatures 8. We always give ourselves a little range here, so we'll do like 6 and 10. Magical Sea Hag book that's been it has been uncursed, or it needs to be uncursed. Ooh, a Hydra. Stay away from trolls, because the trolls are in the forest. Young Black Dragon. I don't know if I want any active dragons, as I have put a few in the area, but I don't want to put too many. And I think there's a lot of, I've already read a lot of lore of them like coming here and killing the black dragon that exists, and I think the black dragon could have been the same one that was at Dragon Spear, but there could be a different one. I have to maybe double check that. Yeah, we can use a Hydra here. Totally fine. Hydra. 1/4. Do we want 1/4? That's so low. In Worldbuilding, I thought 43 wars was a lot over a time period of 700 years. Turns out its rookie numbers compared to... Yeah, are you kidding me? Is that a joke? Are you joking? I guess when you really like start like adding things up, it really gets hard to kind of, because you don't want to like actually admit it, right? Like you don't want to be like, yeah, of course there's that many, right? Easy, Harris. Leave my screen alone. Bullywugs? I have bullywugs. We want undeads. Or we could do swarms. Insects. I think we'll do that. I think we'll do... leeches on the DC check, and then we'll do swarm of mosquitoes. Here. Let's see, 1d6, creature 2. And then a d6 plus. This could be hobgoblins, I think. Let's see what we got for undeadeds here. Ghasts, skeletons, ghouls and ghasts? I like ghasts. And then what is... There's like... Ghast can be another thing. Okay, Book of the Sea Foam. Needs attunement by a wizard. The spell book is a small book bound in scaly blue leather. Upon its surface there are barnacles. The pages of the book are mostly withered. It's said that this book once was written by a strong wizard before she was lost at sea, and the sea hags took it when attuned. You get a +2 to attacks, which have the damage type cold, and allows you to cast the spells Armor of Agathis and Chromatic Orb element cold once per day, or once per long rest, which would be per day. I would just make that per day. And the real power is the +2 on your spell attacks. Yeah, that's chef's kiss. I'm gonna steal that too, if you don't mind, Stormy. We can put that item in both our campaigns. I'll go to the pink. What would be the name of such an item? Yeah, I like it's the duality of it, right? It's the +2 spell casting, but then it's also you get these 2 little flavor spells on top of it, right? It's the both. Book of the Sea Foam. We call it the Lost Diary. I like the idea of, like, you mentioned briefly, like that some lady had this book, right, and have lost it. So I very much like the whole, like, the lost, like, maiden at sea type idea. And how would I write this in my own, cast and focus. While attuned to this book, the wielder gains +2 to their spell attack. As intended, Serum. Would that be to their attack and their spell save DC? Or just their attack? What do you think, Stormy? I think it makes it a very powerful item if you do both, right? Yup. spell to their spell attack and spell save DC. You may cast I'm dealing damage. You may cast Armor of Agathis and Chromatic Orb. Once per day. And then the flavor. Here we are. Okay. A small book bound in sky blue leather. With barnacles. Covering the cover. With barnacles upon the cover. It is legend. It is rumored. Was written as a until lost at sea. Boom, but bang! Yeah, that's why I definitely tried to like rewrite it and give it some more D&D type verbiage. Like a lot of times things will just sound and read the same in D&D. So it's nice when you're making items to try to yeah, I'll go back. I'm also not the best in English, even though it's my only language. It is rumored this book was written as a diary of a wizard of old until they were lost at sea. Let's add now the sea tags. Use it as the basis of their Leviathan ritual. Boom! And now it's tied into a really cool quest line where these players might just run into a couple sea hags and they might realize that there's this giant beast of water crashing into ships. And maybe they'll get sent there by the Merchants Guild of Daggerford to kind of oust them. And now we have this really cool item from Serum here. Write properly and none. Love it. Yeah, you know, y'all are way past me when it comes to linguistics, so. Yeah, it would be like the person who wields. Or the wearer, I think is what they would use. The wearer gains... We decided +1 because it's going to be to both. And also it's tier, let's say tier 2, so like level 5 to level 10. I think a +1 with adders is good. Also, I think I don't want to shy away from spells cast with this book take on the cold property when dealing damage, because I think that's really cool to be able to change your cast type, your damage type. Like imagine somebody who's playing an Eldritch Blaster, now they can, instead of doing force, they can do cold, or not that they'd want to. A wizard could maybe, you know, reflavor their fire bolt into a frost bolt. So yeah, I love the potential of that. Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, again, the ideas are just so good. I'm like, I don't want to leave that behind. I just did a sea hag thing. That's a really cool item to like be at the end of a quest. Like that's like a legendary or very rare item. High quality. Pew pew pew. Great for that level too. So let's see, where were we? We were doing gas. Does anybody know? I believe there's another creature past gas. There's ghouls, there's gas, and then there's what's past it? Let's look. Let's go to like here. Whites? Whites are intelligent undead humanoids that resemble armed and armored corpses. They never tire and pursue their goal, making eternal war against the living. Could be white. Could be whites. I think it's white. Oh, that's right. Where's zombie? You want what's scarier than 6 CR2s? 12 CR halves and a few CR3s. Much scarier, trust me. How do you mean, Storm? It very much would there would be a lot of depends. So let's set the bounds of this conversation, and then we may proceed onto the fields of discussion. Yeah, and they're just gonna have +1s. A couple platoons, couple adventuring units that got gasted. No, not gasted, whited. White. Because when a white kills a zombie, it turns into, when a white kills a human or a humanoid, it turns into a zombie. Boundaries are already set. It is about how the world handles how my world handles enemy necromancers. Well, who's enemy? That's what, like, who's enemy? Like my players, or like the waking world, like Waterdeep, or like Baldur's Gate, or like a controlling power. Because then it's like, you know, like how would a 9th level of hell deal with a necromancer too, right? Are combated by disintegrating corpses? Necromancers are combated by... I don't understand. Yeah, you'll have to elaborate a bit more. CR4. Let's go check a CR4. Withers! Oh, we love Withers! That's so cool. I didn't realize how much stuff was actually... burying someone becomes taboo as it is a corpse their necromancer can use. Oh, so you think, like, generally society wouldn't bury corpses? It wouldn't be a common practice? Is that what you're getting at? Dang it. Cremation is the law. I mean... Well, yeah, I mean, I guess... I've never really thought about this, I guess. You know, so like now thinking about it, like in practice, I guess what I do is I would say that it'd be fairly common to just bury people or cremate, whatever, what have you. I wouldn't put any ruling on it. I keep it very neutral. But then if there was like an active necromancer in the area, then I guess like that sounds like a really good reactionary cause for the people in the immediate area to take up, right? There's some ramifications that come along with that, right? And I guess, I mean, honestly... Yeah, or that, right? There'd be something put in place, right? They wouldn't do nothing. They would do something. But yeah, that's actually, it's a really good point you bring up. Just like reactionary kind of world building, right? Which is kind of, you know, I think that all kind of depends on who and where and what you're doing, right? Very much depends on if you have the steel, right? Ooh, what's another way to kind of to look at this, right? What if you were the necromancer and you've been encouraging people to bury their corpses for years and years and years, and you're just waiting until you've amassed enough corpses to raise them all from the ground, and you're just like, oh, here's my army. Yeah, for sure. So here's another interesting note about kind of like just like real life and animation. Is I forget what precisely it's called. It happened in like around like 1200-ish DR. It wasn't the spell plague, but it was a similar thing where there was a specific phylactery that was made to harvest all souls, and essentially what it did was it made it so nobody could resurrect themselves, because if they died, their soul was instantly put into, I think it was called the soul cage. And so the soul cage was originally made by a necrolich to rule all the necroliches, but what ended up happening is it ended up affecting modern society as well, because you have, you know, tons of adventurers and tons of priests and tons of high-ranking officials and people in power that would have been resurrected maybe at one point in their lifetime, especially like high-leveling adventurers, like people that are really powerful, have a lot of money. They've been resurrected hundreds of times, right? And now all those people that have been resurrected are now dead as their souls have been trapped, right? So it was like a really interesting thing I was reading a few sessions ago about how the soul cage kind of like affected and changed the, you know, like kind of what you're talking about there, Stormy, with like just how kind of everything felt and what the commonplace of things were, and well, not only was it a good thing for bad people, but a good thing for evil people too. It was so gray. It was so neutral. It's such a very gripping story. I would love to actually maybe play around with that. That's what I was saying, Serum. Like, imagine like in like the opposite of what Stormy was saying, where like people don't cremate. Like, they're told by law, you bury your dead, right? And for years and years and years, people bury their dead, and then the plot gets unveiled, and it's actually a necrolich who's like, oh, thanks for building my army. Rise! March! Right? Yeah, so there could definitely be some conflict with the pantheons as well. Nice. That's a fun one to just sneak in. For some higher level loots. What I think is pretty cool, I'm not sure if it's, I don't think it's your session, Stormy. I think it might have been the Crafter. But like they're doing like this thing with werewolves, and it's supposed to be like a grimdark roguelike, where the players are supposed to die a lot and learn through their deaths and progress through their deaths. But like, imagine a world of grim darkedness where the players are in the era of the soul cage, and there's no resurrecting. You could play a hardcore D&D session that's very to the book and very to lore, and maybe have them go, I wonder if that's actually a module or something somewhere. Here, I'm not even working, I'm just chatting. Get myself in the office. There we go. The cats are always budging my camera. The consensualist necromancer? I love it. Speak with dead. Hey, you busy? No? Oh, you mind if I animate you for a little bit? Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Cast animate dead. Ethical necromancer? Not even. Let's take it a step further. They have a litigation firm of lawyer necromancers that scour the fields of battle, and they ask dead. They say, "Hey, would you like to write into a contract to serve our great necrolich?" and they're literally they're conscripting soldiers in an ethical manner with pay and with consent. And of course, you know, most dead people are like, yeah, I wasn't doing anything else. Like, never require witnesses again, zone of truth. Yeah, right? So it is a fair point. There, law and politics in high fantasy can tend to look different, which is why sometimes it's hard and really ticky-tacky to get involved with them. And I've definitely been trying to like dip my hand in and try and, you know, test the waters when it comes to running more political type things. Oh yeah, I got what you meant, Serum. Stretch it up. Stretch it up. Well, I mean, I don't think it's just 5e. I think world building in general is a mess. And I think you need to zoom in and zoom out a lot, right? Sometimes it's good to zoom in and sometimes it's not good to zoom in. Because like a lot of these things that we've discussed don't really come up too much in play-to-play with characters. Sometimes they can, and I think if you have very specific themes running, they definitely can. But as the world builder, as the one in the seat, right? Like, we ask ourselves these questions all the time, and I really think asking these questions and having these conversations makes us better for when we're on the hot seat and we gotta improv, right? Because we've discussed it, it's comfortable, it's something that's coming natural, it's not something we're thinking about for the first time. Like, we've thought in depth about what this one character might, you know, want to do, where they would have been, and what they can do, right? We're always thinking about all these different odds and ends of society. Like lo and behold, like for as simple as the yellow and the pink, the purple zones of my map, Misty Forest and the Trollbark Forest, right? Those are two forests that have a very firm reason of them existing. They also have a very firm history of magical prowess, right? I intentionally made those tier 3. I was like, these are going to be my highest level random encounter spot, because for those 3 reasons I mentioned, like, there's a reason why they exist. There's a reason why that wood would be there. Otherwise, you know, Daggerford would have chopped it down centuries ago, right? Yeah, I would agree. I think an important thing to kind of differentiate with Storm is where you're playing in D&D. Because we're currently on the cusp of a lot of industry, and it goes really fast almost, right? So it's like if you're playing in 1300 DR, you're pretty firm in like a high fantasy medieval setting, right? But the closer you get to 1400 and into 1500, especially around like Eberron, when that gets introduced around like, I think it's like 1480, you know, we get more and more industrial, right? And I think that's important to notate, you know, and I think the best part to add to this conversation is just the concept of artificers and their effect in the world, right? You know, there would be a fairly modernized industry, right? Steam engines could exist. Not even that. What was the thing we were talking about last time? Printing presses, right? So if you go back in history, human history, and you look at reading and education and just cerebral capacity before the printing press, we're like do baseline do, and then you add the printing press and just we like skyrocketed and everything. It like literally started the Renaissance, you know? Like, so that's what's happening right now in D&D if you're playing around 1400, 1500. Right? That's the world you're living in. You're living in massive metropolis that have so much business and so much trade, right? You have the ability to not only have ships that can travel all the way across the world, but you can just teleport, right? So I would also say, like, a lot of these things we would have already had in the form of magic, but now that we have them in machines, you know, it's a little bit easier, right? Spellcasters can now do other things. Yeah, right? I definitely, and not only that, so what's something, I think you've probably heard me chirp on it before, Stormy, is, modern day-to-day jobs. So, like, imagine if you were you were just like an individual with innate magical abilities. Say you were an elf, and you could cast Prestidigitation. Like, you might use that Prestidigitation on a daily basis. That might define what type of job you do. If I could just go to work every day and snap my fingers because I'm me and my job's done, why the hell wouldn't I do that, right? You don't have to be a high-level magic caster to do that. And then here's another one you can add to that, right? Is we live in a world of RPG where people can obtain things, right? There's the Magic Initiate feature. So, like, you can kind of perceive a person could... I did it with one of my characters. I had a character who was like a rogue, and they lost their hand, and then they needed to find work for themselves. So they went to school, they studied to be a Magic Initiate so that they could cast Prestidigitation with their one good hand, and then they just used that to do everything. So that's literally like the basis for an entire person's character and backstory, right? Levitate, Tensor's Disc, right? Those have huge storage and transportation implications, right? Dimension Door. Like, so here's one, right? Say you have a river about 400, 500 feet wide. You could have a ferry and a boat system like you would regularly have in a medieval setting. Or you could replace that entirely with one weird drunk wizard who just sits there bombed off his ass and charges people 1 gold piece to dimension door them across the river. Right? Like, you can, like... there's so much stuff you can do with magic. It's really fun, right? With the spell Fly, right? Magic Mouth. You wouldn't have like a greeter at the door. You would have an enchanted door that greets you. Right? You could if you were wealthy enough, you would have somebody pay money to put your... It's like a Ring doorbell. Right? Like, they have Ring doorbells. It's called Scry and Magic Mouth, right? Like... water breathing for divers, etc., etc., etc. I think like the trade implications too. So like for sailors, you can control the weather. You can direct the wind, right? If you have a strong enough wizard. Wouldn't that be happening all the time? And so here's something that I read that is actually like canon D&D lore. Is large city centers like Baldur's Gate or Water's Deep, or maybe even Daggerford at some point, right? Or Heldepan. Think of any big city. They would assumedly have teams of wizards that would be casting control weather on their farmlands. Would they not? Right? And that's a lore piece from D&D lore, where that's a very important thing. Right? Your agricultural wizards that ensure your crops are going to grow so that the city can continue to grow and not go into famine. Here's another idea. So maybe say there is a famine and what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a team of druids together to cast Goodberry as many spell slots as they have. And everybody in the city gets a Goodberry, and that's how we stave off famine, right? There's so many cool ideas. I'm gonna put the lobby up. I'm gonna take a $5, everybody. Stretch my back. I'll be right back. Y'all have just been ripping away on these ideas, hey? Fear and oppressed people. Oh yeah, though they're all great points. You know, and these can all be the basis for really rich ideas for, you know, campaigns, right? Is this deep introspection. All right, let's see. We're gonna finish this list today. We're gonna finish it. 1d4 creature 4s. Oh, we were looking at withers. So let's go off of undead. Let's organize. Let's go deeper. There we are. Giant crocodiles. That's fine. CR1s. 1s and 2s. An enormous tentacle. More ghouls. Make these ones gas, because I haven't used them yet. CR12s. We'll do 10 and 14. See what's up there for us. Adult Black Dragon, Archdruid, Frogmoth. A frogmoth is an amphibious predator as big as an elephant. It lairs in swamps and has 4 tentacles, a thick rubbery hide, and a fanged-filled maw with a prehensile tongue, and an extendable stalk sporting 3 bulbous eyes that face in different directions. Not of this world. Of the metal brewer. Oh, bullywugs can communicate with it on a basic level and they worship it. Huh, interesting. Spirit trolls. What a great premise for a like literally an entire campaign. 2 people a day keep dying in this town and we don't know why. And you let them wait all the way up to level 20 to figure out with magic that somebody with subtle spell magic has been just... Well, I get 2 spell slots a day, huh? Sip coffee. I guess you and you. Let's see. Dang it, I did it again. Just put that up there. Huge monstrosity. They're not of this world. Buried in the ground from which fog must emerge, but no reliable reports of the location of such places exist. Do I want to put one in here, or do I want something else? It's tier 3, so I can really expand this as much as I want. More hydras? I think that's fair there. We could do hydras. No, I don't like having multiple hydras. This is weird. They're not a creature that there should be multiple. It's like having multiple dragons. Like, that's just weird. What's a Nagpa? Long ago, the Raven Queen cursed a cabal of powerful wizards for meddling in a ritual that would have helped avert war between gods. She transformed them into these bird-like creatures. Yeah, I don't think these would necessarily be here. Let's go up. Let's go up. See what else we got up here. Nightwalkers. Let's see, D4, 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 and then one big thing. That's all we got here, huh? Dragon, 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 dragon. There's a lot in here when you don't do swamp, but... Copper Great Worm. Let's see what y'all are cooking up. Yeah, Evocation Wizard Magic Missile combo is so good. I love it because people don't understand how good having that much guaranteed damage is up front. You can just full cast your highest level spells and just be like, oh yeah, we dealt all this damage up front. You know, it's like the antithesis of power word kill. It's just damage, no matter what, anywhere you want it. It's so good. A Flesh Colossus, a Gargantuan. Ooh. Come on, we gotta find something here we can use. Nib Mizzet. Gnarly. So gnarly. Combine their efforts to protect their ancient empire from a particularly vicious dragon. Stone and hill giants hewed a mighty form from living stone. Cloud and frost giants gathered rare metals. Inscribed runes into the inherent... was an everlasting guardian. The first runic colossus. Runic colossus stands 30 feet tall and regards to all non-giants as a threat, and unless it has other orders, it attacks such creatures on sight. The art of crafting a runic colossus is lost to modern giants, but many tales suggest the instructions might be buried deep in ruins from ancient giant empires. I'm going to add this. I think this is freaking fun! And we'll add a little bit of play to that. It won't just be like an encounter where they just fight it. It'll be like buried in the swamp, like it's fallen from a giant kingdom in the sky above, and it's been lost to the swamp. But if they stand up upon it, they might activate it accidentally if they investigate it further, right? Or maybe they can ascertain what it is before they activate it, and then use it maybe against his Dracolich one day. But yeah, the High Moors is huge, so it seems like a good as place as any for this Colossus to be lost to time, right? I still need 3 more things here. Guess I could do more hobgoblins. D4, D6. We'll see. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. D12. We'll do 2d6 at this point. 2d6. Let's copy paste this. Make this 2d4. Make this 2d8. 3d4. See, yeah, risk versus reward. I guess that could technically be that Colossus, I guess. Maybe there's something else I can replace the Colossus with. Hey, what's going on, Edwin? I'm making some random encounter sheets for my world, and looks like Stormy and Serum have been world building a couple items over there as well. We're all kind of just hanging out doing our thing right now. Welcome! How are you doing today, Edwin? It's a wall of text. Here, let's read what Serum's got going on. Name pending, of course. When attuned, you grow black scales. While attuned, you gain +1 to all attacks, and the attacks made with this sword do 1d6 extra acid damage, which spread in a 5-foot cone. When you crit, the acid cone increases to 15 foot. Okay, so the weapon just, or the acid attacks in a 5-foot cone. So we had just kind of finished up. I mean, I'm still kind of open for ideas here. I was doing a tier 3, which would be level 10 to 15. And we are in the Highmoor Swamp, which is an undead-ridden swamp with a band of hobgoblins that exists somewhere inside it. So I so far have a environmental encounter of some leeches. Oh, here, let me bring you with me here to my world. I have some environmental encounters, some leeches, some ghouls, hobgoblins at PC level, because I think, you know, matching the party's level is a very dangerous thing to do, and we're at tier 3, so let's challenge them. Some crocodiles, a hydra, 2d6 swarm of mosquitoes. We'll do some zombies and some whites, and then some zombie and some whites with some +1 weapons. Here's some help. I can use some help here. Some type of refuge in the swamp that could just be, you know, a haven, a safe place for these players to just take a rest. And then also what I would be looking for is a risk versus reward encounter. So in the past we've done, you know, maybe a wagon that has been lost or attacked. We've done some poisonous plants. We've done plenty of things. So that can be pretty much anything. That's just flavor. And Serum came up with this really good idea of maybe having a Dracolich in the swamp. So I think we're going to have a guild or a cult of Black Dragonborns. Come on, Jezebel, I'll let you in. Get in here, girl. Oh, she's covered in dirt. It's her favorite thing to do is just roll around in dirt. Demon Ducks of Doom! Yeah, I would agree with Stormy. I think for a legendary item, a tad underwhelming. 10-foot line. Choice, yeah, maybe you could talk to the sword. Maybe the sword could take 2 different forms. Legendaries normally start the bar at like +3. So +1 would be like your green, +2 is your blue, +3 is your purple. So like if you're not at least +3 with your item, you're probably not a legendary unless you're doing like a lot of spells and something else. So yeah, I definitely think there's some room for some embellishment. We could definitely make that a bit better. I like the premise of it, though. I think it's definitely a good idea, but I think if we want it to be legendary rarity, we should tune it up a bit. Let's bring it into the shop. I mean, I guess, what do you really want to emphasize? Do you want it to be a lot of acid damage? Or do you want it to be a little bit of acid damage? Do you want to leave it as is and maybe just bring the rarity down a bit? I would say as is. What do you say, Stormy? Blue to purple? Rare, very rare, either or? Yeah, very rare. Yeah, that's a good idea. Give the player immunity or resistance to acid. I would just give them resistance or immunity. So yeah, focus on the acid. So yeah, if you want to maybe increase the acid play a little bit, you could do... Just make it, yeah, more damage with the acid. Increase the d6. Increase the so I think like a 10-foot line, you know, is a bit more applicable than a 5-foot cone. You can hit a lot more with a 10-foot line. But then, you know, maybe I think, you know, choice upon hit. Like, I think that's a good idea where you can have different forms. It's something one of my other DM buddies does a lot, the Lore Master. It's like maybe the sword has it's like a hose, right? Maybe there's a focus point where it's shooting in a line, and then maybe it's an unfocused point where it sprays in a cone. And you get to choose that. Yeah, swamps, cults, totally a classic idea. Run with it. And I think, honestly, I mean, if you wanted to just play off of some of this lore here, some of this actual D&D lore, there's a Black Dragonborn cult, you know? Or there's Black Dragonborn, and then now there's the Draco Lich, so now there's Black Dragonborn culties. Maybe you could add a couple other ones in there. You know, you could some of the other acid profiles. Yeah, if you gave the immunity on there, definitely bumps it up a bit. And honestly, that's a really cool idea. If you're gonna, is that item gonna be on one of the culties? Serum? Nice, totally cool. My idea is if you're gonna have that item be like on one of your big bad culty bosses, right? You could totally, you know, make the fight flavored in like a pool of acid, right? Where the one person holding this sword is just immune to all the acid, but everybody in the room is not immune, right? That could be a really fun, really gripping fight for your players. Let's see what Edwin's got. The Rock of Gravity Detection. When you release this rock, it accelerates towards the largest source of gravity. Interesting. Yeah, nice. So that's in the hands of your cult leader. You have a cult, and like maybe that could be their weird vibe. You know, cults are supposed to have like their like, you know, like their flatulation or like whatever they do to make them creepy. They could do it with acid. Maybe they like intentionally like drop acid on their skin, and like all these cults have like these really bad skin burns from where they've maybe tattooed themselves with acid. And then there's just this one Black Dragonborn with absolutely pristine black scales because they're the leader and they have immunity to acid, right? Yeah, acid bathing, right? Yeah, that could totally be their thing, and just run with it. This black dragon acid type concept. Edwin, that was the first thing I thought of, was like, wow, this item actually like is like really astral themed. You know, it's very, depending on what, if you're doing like a Starfinder campaign or something of the sort, right? That could be a really cool item depending on what your perspective of the world and where you're playing is, right? Yeah, so everybody else has resistance to it, right? Because they're all black dragons, half dragons, right? So they're all resistant to it, but like that's why they do it, you know? But then there's the one who's immune, he's pristine. And you can chalk that up. And maybe like that's what they do. They polish the leader's scales so he has the most pristine, shiny. But everybody else has to, you know, scar themselves for the cult. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out some really weird, wonky ideas for these creepos. Yeah, Edwin, so this is it. This is pretty much what we do here. We share our ideas and we kind of just create our worlds together. We hang out. What do you come from? Are you a D&D player, Edwin, or do you play other systems? For just $9.99, you can pay with gold nuggets, with planks, or computer parts. Now taking applications. The cult wants you. Join now. Oh man, get this knot. Okay, so you're like Stormy. You all play Pathfinder 2. I don't know, what's Adventure Path? Is that something different? Cool. Also, we have the same roots. That's where I started as well. Yeah, right. Serum, you're ridiculous, but you're so right. Yeah, we gotta think of something here. We gotta think. What's something in the desert? We can reset this, and then we can find like a good creature. Advanced filter. Do 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 do. Can I just do good? No. Any good? Nice. Thank you. Any good? In swamp, any good swamp creatures? I need to know. The will-o-wisp could technically be good. You know, I kind of like that. Maybe these are good willy-wisps. The will-o-wisp can target one creature it can see within 5 feet of it that has 0 hit points and is still alive. Yes, will-o-wisps. The will-o-wisp buff refuge. Will-o-wisp refuge. Gain willow buff when resting. I'm outnumbered, as I've been telling y'all. I'm outnumbered. These cats. Okay, it's a module. Cool, cool. Per capita. I don't know. It's up to you. What do you want your world to look like? Do you want it to be war-torn? Do you want it to have some modern civility? You know how... You know, you gotta remember, it takes time to rebuild after war, right? I guess those things could be, like, you know, expedited with magic, but still, nonetheless, I mean, if you're constantly warring. And I guess another thing to mention would be, right, when you are warring with magic, things get bigger, right? It's like warring with nukes, you know, the damage is bigger. So, you know, you might be able to fix things easier, but you're also going to be able to break things much easier. So I think that's the ramifications of magic, right? That is very important. D12 minor and D4 minor. Oh, Edwin. Oh, naive Edwin. No, the bar is set at least 700. Is that what the map pans out to, about 40? Per century. And how long did you want to make it? And also, I guess it depends on how big your world is. Is it a full globe? Is it a smaller, more intimate setting? You know, what do you got going on in your world setting, my friend? Because I believe you're in a full homebrew world, right? Larger than Earth, full globe. Yeah, then yeah, I wouldn't be shy. I would maybe even base it right off that, right? I would pick a couple big players, the ones that are always getting tied up and mixed up in things, and I would, you know, set it pretty high, make some small conflicts. Yeah, so I also, it depends on what your world setting is, right? Are you like more industrial, modernized magic society? Are you more medieval, like low magic? I think all these things would apply to your decision. You know all these answers, Storm. You have the answer. It's in there somewhere. Let's find it. I mean, guys, we could assign arbitrary numbers too, but I think this is very much a situation where, as the dungeon master, just pick something that makes sense. What's the point of having an arbitrary roll? What if you roll a 2? Are you seriously going to move forward with just 2 wars in the past century? I don't think so, you know? Which is actually, that's like an interesting thing to note about kind of like what I did here, right? You know, I could have done a D12, but like a D4, 2D4 is guaranteed 2 ghouls. 3D4 is guaranteed 3. So 3 to 12 is scarier than 1 to 12, right? What if I roll a 1? Well, I could at least guarantee 3 in that fight. So, you know, in this situation, I mean, if we were to assign an arbitrary dice roll, like, I would say, like, 10d10, right? Maybe 10d10. The most devious trap I've ever created in a game. Stormy didn't even hesitate. He's like, oh, I torment my players all the time. Next to a statue that doubles damage and range of any spell that hits it. Two fireball traps next to a statue. So, like, if they shoot the statue, it shoots back. And then if the trap goes off, then also that gets shot back. I'm trying to think. I think my most devious trap is my tavern one-shot. Where I wrote an entire one-shot that's essentially a trap, like escape room almost. And the entire one-shot from start to finish is actually, it all fits on one page. It's a very short write-up. But it is a full 3 to 4 hour session of madness for these players as they try to figure out how to get out. Then a 10-foot wide, 120-foot long lightning shoot. Yeah, love that. That's a classic though. The long corridor with danger. But, I mean, what I like to do, one thing I like keeping in mind when I do these types of, like, traps and stuff is I don't always want it to just be like, oh, here we can just cast a spell and finish this, right? So, like, if it's a 120-foot long corridor, yeah, they could just use a dimension door and get past it. But, like, what are other ways they could maybe get past it, right? Perhaps there's, like, with the lightning, perhaps there's something they could pick up and hold that would, you know, divert the lightning damage while they walked forward, or some other type of, like, mechanical or, like, physical way to solve the trap. What's Edwin got? A tilting floor that dumped the party in a chamber below. The floor of the chamber was covered in 2 inches of flammable oil. In the middle of the room was a stone golem, but not a regular stone golem. This golem was made from was flint. Ooh. Interesting. And how does that play out, Edwin? So you didn't do yet. I suppose filled with treasure, which the players need to destroy to get the treasure. But after they destroy 3, the ceiling will cave in. Ooh, that's a good one. And every time they destroy one, you tell them, they're like, oh, the ceiling shakes, and, you know, yeah. And because you got 2 loot goblins, yeah, get them. And then you could do like maybe a chase scene. Don't guarantee them dead, but like maybe do a series of dexterity checks to run away for them to get out. Or maybe the entire cave collapses, so that it's just a chase scene. They have to run the whole way or they get collapsed upon. Strike it with a metal weapon and sparks fly. Yeah. What's with the chamber below? Is that where the golem is? What was with the tilting floor? Because it feels like the golem's like it's its own trap in and of itself, but you got like the tilting floor covered in oil, and then it dumps the party in the chamber below. Oh, the oil in the bottom. So it's just a regular tilting trap, and then they get trapped in there with the golem made of. Interesting. Flammable gas. That has been in the cooking for 2,000 years. Criminals all got insta-killed due to almost taking twice their health in one go. Yeah, no torches, right? Oh yeah, there is a good one. Name one stream that I've been on without my Theracane. Name one. All right, so let's see what else we got to get in here. A risk versus reward. All right, maybe come on, y'all, help me out. Help me out here. We're in the swamp. We're all level 10. We're level 15. We're doing big bad stuff. We got some nice slots. We got our level 11, you know, power spikes. Like, we're shooting out there, right? What's a risk versus reward for these players in the swamp? Kind of like Serum was saying, like, treasure trapped in icicles. Something like that. Due to them using the Ring of Regeneration, grow the limbs back. I love it. I love regeneration trope plays. No, that's the best part about that encounter, Serum, is it's literally your players reaping the repercussions of their decisions while they run away the entire, like, from the collapse. Like, it's so good. Yeah, dude, that's I already knew, Stormy. I already knew that's where you're going with that. I already knew. Let's see here. We're in the swamp. We're doing... I guess there's been some battles here. We do like a dead adventure party. I receive a message that the most dangerous harpy in the world have escaped. Nice. Nice! Make them regret their decisions. Make them regret. They done this to themselves. Oh, I'll get my ice piece. I'll be right back. Can't wait for chicken sandwich. I don't know about y'all, but I'm having a chicken sandwich at lunchtime. Harpies and hags, man. There's some creepy beaches. Some creepy beaches. Okay. My shoulder's gone. Let's see, what else is good? Creatures in the swamp. Maybe some lost wood elves? Oh no, I just figured it out. We're doing all these ideas for traps and stuff. Here's my idea. We're in this swamp, and I just like had this like memory of being in Valheim. So we're in the swamp. The players they're exploring around. Random encounter. They find a crypt. They enter this crypt, and they see that inside there's like a blockage of mud and gunk from the swamp, but it hasn't fully crept in yet. And deep inside the crypt, they can see several valuables that exist. And if they have the ability to maybe mage hand in there, they can try to grab some of it, or they can force open the gate and try to get in there and get out before the mud fills all the way back up to the top. What do y'all think? Should I change that a little bit? Should I flavor that a little bit different or better? Sunken crypt. The party can see several valuables inside. in the crypt. Now let me bring y'all with me so y'all can see what I'm writing here. A tower which is built on the swamp. And I built that tower on a swamp, and I built it and it fell down, and I built it again. And I built a second tower on that swamp. Valuables, but the tower is sinking fast and there is no windows on the lower floors. So getting out is hard, especially after the doors sink. They either need to be quick or work their way up to destroy the walls, which has the risk of destroying the tower and them having to maneuver. Actually, you know what? I kind of like yours a little bit better. Because A, I love tower maps. And like, you can have the one doorway into the tower, and once they go in, once the fourth party member steps on, the tower sinks. Anyone next to the door can make a check, but anybody not next to the door ain't getting out. Serum with the lights out ideas over here. Come on in, Jezebel. I'll let you in, I'll let you out, I'll let you in, I'll let you out. Alright, let's rewrite this a little bit. Yeah, tower map with a time limit. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I like your idea better because I like the tower concept. And we'll call it Sinking Tower. A ruined tower stands in the swamp. Lost to time. Inside, it appears to still be furnished. While the decor may be old and rotted, you can see there still may be valuables inside. The whole party enters the tower. No, we should when they start fiddling. Or I don't know. I mean, let's talk about this, right? Swimming in the mud is next to impossible. It's a very high DC check of dexterity, in my opinion. Maybe even strength you could throw in there after a couple rounds. So let's think about this, right? The party enters the tower, and it's very, I don't know, almost very gotcha if it's like, oh, all four of them enter, and then the tower sinks. But, I mean, if it's when they start investigating and picking up stuff and meddling with stuff, say they knock a shelf over, what I wanted to discuss or decide really here is what specifically makes the tower start sinking. It was daft to build a cat. Edwin knows, yes. And that's what you're gonna get, my boy. The strongest castle that ever stood. What? The curtains? Begins sinking. How fast? Augustus, what's going on? Welcome to the chat, my friend. A magic item that they have to take is this thing that's been keeping the tower above water the whole time. That's an idea, maybe. Okay. What could that item be, though? And then what would it do? I like the idea. Maybe that's our reward. Because right now we're doing a risk versus reward, right? So the risk is going in this tower and it's going to sink. But the reward is maybe the item that's been keeping it afloat. An immovable rod. You know, but like, what's the price tag on an immovable rod there, hey? Let's check. I think is it a wondrous item? It might not even have like a valid pricing. It's green. So like 500. 250, 500, depending on your market. Yeah, I definitely think the first floor is gonna be like the tower shakes, everybody gets knocked prone, and it falls that first drop right away to the point where nobody can get out. Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. But I think after that, they're all prone too, so that automatically nicks some of their movement speed. Let's see, if it's one round, they'd all have half their movement speed to get out of that first tower. Presumably some of them wouldn't make it out. And like mud could just be. I got it. I have it. Because mud is difficult terrain already, right? So this is what we're gonna do. I've entered the tower. Begins to shake and knock all players prone. Give them DCs. Agency, Dungeon Masters. What do you say? 15 decks. More be knocked prone. Players have 1 round to make it out of the room into the next floor. Players who do not make it may not may, must make a DC 15 strength in difficult terrain. So I think just like that. So all 4 players enter, DC 15 to hit the ground. Players now have 1 round to make it out of that room, which will be, I'll make the map for them, have the stairs. And we'll say like 5 foot up the stairs, right? Not even. Like if they're on the stairs, they'll be good, I think. That's the safe zone. We'll call it that cut and dry. If they don't make it to the stairs within that round, they are now going to have to make a 15 DC check in strength to kind of wade through the mud and get that last bit. And we'll say there's like a foot of air left. Let's fall 2 floors behind. Begin to suffocate. Done. What do you think? Should we change that? Let's catch up. No, I don't want to change it. I think this is the sunken tower in the swamp is way too good of an idea. But let's see what your idea is. Let's see. Maybe we can use it somewhere else. The tower is atop of a giant aboleth type creature that uses the tower to lure them in like an anglerfish, and starts pulling the tower under once the adventurers are inside. Ooh, that's a fun idea for like an astral bit. Gotta get my ice peas on my shoulder. Shoot! Alright, here we go. So, Augustus, let's roll with this. I think we definitely, I like your idea of a magic item that's been holding this tower up. What can we do for an item here? I like having cool thought-crafted items. You know, like kind of like your idea, Serum, with the Sea Hag's book, that like lost spell book. You know, because like everybody knows about the items on like the D&D list. Everybody knows about the +1s and +2s, and which like the dancing sword and stuff like that, and they kind of expect it. And if they want it, I think players will normally just ask for it because they'll shop pretty frequently all the time. And if we're in a big city, you know, or in Daggerford, you could have it, you know, imported, you know. So it's not like these players couldn't get these items upon request. It would just be a little bit more expensive. But you know, to that accord, I think it's fun for players to have different items, you know, stuff that isn't on the list necessarily. That's has its own flair. So, what are we thinking? We did a swamp. We did a spellcasting focus. It's something that would have the ability to, you know, like maybe hold the tower up or have like an innate power to it. Or just is inherently strong, possibly, is an idea. Tough one. What do we think? What do we think? Nothing warlocky, no. I'm trying to think of something that would be a bit more versatile. Something that kind of sits in the middle of the road. Something in a caster or something a marshal would be able to use, right? Maybe like a necklace? Or a ring? I also like the idea of having loot just be in the castle. So maybe my idea before you kind of gave that suggestion, Serum, is the tower is just going to keep moving, and the whole thing's filled with loot, all the way to the top. And I like using like random loot sometimes too. So I'll just keep giving them some random rolls of some stuff, some goodies, right? And that'll all be behind, you know, some investigation checks. So they're quite literally in a life or death trap situation. And they're asking themselves, well, I'll probably make it to the stairs. Maybe I can do an investigate here quick. You know, like... Sir, a fruit grown from the vines which holds the tower, and when eaten the vines rot away and the fruit embeds his seed in your arm, which allows you to create a sword and vines to attack. Serum, where do you get these ideas from? You're like popping off right now. I love it. Let's see. Control gravity. Yeah, maybe it just like allows the wielder to levitate. No. Here's an idea. Ready? The last thing to touch this item, it's a wondrous item. So there's no attunement. I like keeping this free and wonky. But the last person to touch this item levitates. So it's a gravity-defying item. And if you touch it, you levitate. And you now have the power of float. You can hover wherever you want, right? So that can be good for a caster. That can be good for a martial person. Omni movement, right? And then also, the last thing it's touching currently is going to be the tower itself. It's going to be sitting on a pedestal, maybe on a countertop of the tower itself. And whatever magic user just left it here for whatever reason, and the last thing it's touching currently is the tower, which is now currently floating. And once it's picked up, the last thing it touches is the person holding it. And now they're floating, and the tower is not. And the ground underneath it's no longer stable. So, it's perfect. A little gravity piece. We're going to call it the Omni Orb. Add some doors, you think? Like in the floors themselves? Or just like some doors have floors that you have to get through and some don't. Honestly, that could be a good scaling component, right? So if every door, like you said, not every door is going to be the same, but every floor has a door. And the first player that gets to that door has to open that door. The very first door, we'll say, is rotted out. It literally crumbles as you push it open, right? And then as they continue up and up and up, if they start getting a little bit too far ahead, well, maybe that door isn't so easy to open anymore. Maybe I can personally say this door is a really hard door now all of a sudden because y'all are going way too quick with a couple particular abilities that I wasn't ready for. Maybe some inbound scaling in that accord, right? One thing I'm worrying about right now is currently I think I can sidestep this if I word my description effectively and deliver it effectively. But what I'm worried about is them coming in with a detect magic or them coming in with wariness of this orb or of things in here and nobody ever touches the orb. Or if the players can figure out, I guess I should give them a chance to figure out, because agency. So like maybe like a DC 20, they can figure out that this orb, it has magical power, right? If somebody comes in and does an Arcana check, or if someone does detect magic, then they can definitely tell that this orb is magical. Yeah, 100% serum. So I was totally thinking, and you got to remember, for this encounter, this is a tier 3 encounter. So these characters can get pretty much as much loot as they want. They're going to have a lot of abilities, but also, like, I don't care if they have money. Like, I'm not going to break the bank by giving them money. So it's okay for them to get a lot of loot here. I think that's fun. So yeah, not only one very illustrious chest, ornate chest on the top floor, that if they're able to get all the way up to that top floor, they have a few rounds maybe extra in their pocket, they got ahead of the curb, where they can get this chest out through a window, or they can break it open and then get the loot out of it and then hop out that last window, right? I'm gonna have a chest at the top, super rich chest, and then in between there's just gonna be furniture, cupboards, cabinets, trinkets all over. If the players want to spend each turn rolling investigation checks, then they'll be able to roll on a chart for some loot and for some gold as well. This entire tower is going to be littered with loot. And I think that's another good point too. I think we should maybe have some doors that have magical wards on them too. I mean, possibly these players are going to be either level 10 or 15. So they're going to have a decent amount of spell power on them. And I think it's very important to maybe take a look at your party before engaging in this encounter, to see kind of what spells they have. And that's why I think the doors should be up to you as the DM. I think the doors are your scaling. You could have a magic door, you could have a door with several locks, you could have a door with one really hard lock. You could have a door that is lodged shut but could be pushed open. You could have a door that is lodged open but is just small enough for you to squeeze through with your dexterity, and then you could easily move the cabinet that's blocking it, right? So you could do dexterity, strength, you could do any type of spell to cast these doors open as well. You have any movement spells like Misty Step or Dimension Door, stuff like that you could use. So there's a lot of stuff these players at level tier 3 will be able to use to kind of maneuver through this tower. which is fun, right? So not only are they going to be stuck in here, but they'll have all the tools they need to get out. Yeah, this is just fun. This is fun. I gotta go pee. I'll be right back. I've been holding it because we're on this like really good brainwave, and I didn't want to like stop it. La da da da, la da da da. Let's see. Yeah, definitely. Some doors need to Hear me out. A mimic door at one of the high floors. I mean, the scaling is in your hands, young, capable dungeon master, right? Like, we can do whatever we want to do. If a mimic door is what's needed because these players are crushing your encounter, give them a mimic door! A tentacle horror in golden chains. PC walks into an empty room with the water staining the floor, dripping down from the ceiling. After they enter, the gibbering creature slithers down, blocking the exit. It roars, exposing a maw filled with rows of teeth. The creature spits out a vicious egg sac that erupts into tentacle moonhounds. The cuffs of the golden chains can turn into magic bangles of some kind. Interesting, gripping, we love it. Yeah, we're going 2.5 here. Oh, there's a good crunch. I figured out my issue. My issue is it's not just my nerves. It's like, it's the muscles around my nerves. I get like really bad knots. That's why I'm always using that cane there to like rub them out. And they get like really tight. And like I get a lot of them. And I'll rub them all out and I'll get a massage. And like I can just like feel them come back. Like almost like someone like takes a little vice, they clamp it on, they just go and then they pick another spot and they like twist it. And they'll grab here and they'll twist that muscle. And it's like, that's what I'm constantly fighting. It's just like these muscles that don't want to stay flat. So if anybody has any experience with twisty, knotty muscles, you read Magic Bagel? What? What's Magic Bagel? Oh, you read Magic Bagel, not Bangle. And at the end of the tower, everybody gets a nice magical snack. Let's see, begin to snuffocate, and we'll just up the DC. Move. We're gonna make investigation checks. Find random loot. Ornate chest that clearly will not fit through. So the chest ain't going with them. They gotta open it or get out. Which keep insects at bay. I'll give him a can of bug repellent. How about it? Check to find random loot. The final floor will have an open window and a large ornate chest that clearly will not fit through it. Let me look at spells. Knock spell. Actually, I have a better idea, I think. Or 3 DC 20 dex. In a row. Or well, I'm gonna write this up. Oh, thank you. I'm in the office. There we are. I've changed it a couple times too. Final floor. Okay, this chest has 3 magical locks that reset when another is opened incorrectly. Each lock can be opened with a knock spell or a DC 20 dex. Chest may also be opened with a DC 30 strength. What do you think about that? So you can just either Hulk right out of it, or you can hit all the locks. Yeah, isn't that fun? And then also, like, there, like you mentioned, there might be doors that have locks that they already used knock on to get out of this situation, so they might be stressed on spell slots, and it's not just one that's going to get them into this chest. They need 3 of them, right? And the chest is a mimic sword disguised as a rusty knife. Here's a question. Do we want to, and a technique that I've seen in other games, right, is say the first floor and every floor all the way up until the last one is moving. And when they finally get to the last floor, it's just, this tower stops sinking and they're in this last room and they can just leave after they fight this creature, and then there's this chest that they can pick, right? Or maybe I still want that to be on the timer. I like the idea of them picking this triple lock chest on the clock. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. But yeah, I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna scoop up and get out of here. So thanks for all the help, Serum. It was nice seeing you again. Thanks, Stormy, Augustus, Edwin. Thanks all y'all for coming by. I appreciate it. We will be by tomorrow with some world building. But if you'd like to check out some of my roleplay, we will be live tonight with a Dragonlance campaign with a couple of my friends. It's a Shy Girl and Raging Gabo. Check us out on Twitch. We'll see you all around like 7 p.m. Eastern. And if not, then tomorrow around noon, hey? Peace, everybody.